It's now time for the Eld Henderson Real News Show, Organize, Don't Criticize, which airs each Wednesday evening from 6 o'clock p.m. until 7 o'clock p.m. here on WMPR. We now take you to Studio B for the Eld Henderson Real News Show, Organize, Don't Criticize with Dr. Henderson.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Marty Hart, our great announcer. This is the Eld Henderson Real News Show, Organize, Don't Criticize. Folks, we're proud to tell you our underwriters are Action Leadership Institute, the PCAP Media Group, and our book, Organize, Don't Criticize. We'll show you that later on. But I want you to understand today that if you want this book, you must understand you can get it. It's just, we're giving it away for $7.99 through Amazon. You check them, go to your computer, your phone, or whatever, and get one of these books. It's going to show you how to put a call to action together and do the things you need to do after you build coalitions with your family, your friends, your neighbors, in your community, so you can determine your destiny from birth to death in education and training, politics, religion, economic development, and of course, you want to think about the good part about education, where you're going to be competitive with the peers and others worldwide. It's not about Mississippi anymore. It's not about the United States of America anymore when it comes to economic development and work. It's about international collaboration. Folks, you have to be a little better than the young workers in Africa, in Asia, in the Middle East, wherever it is where there are people competing for the same jobs. The listeners to the Eld Henderson Real News Show must understand, and they will be told, you have to be just one step above your competitors. Because if you're not one step above or higher, you won't get that job. You'll be relegated to the so-called small-time, small-paying jobs. $8 an hour. Nationally, the minimum wage, $7.25 an hour. The wage that will not give you an opportunity to pay your rent and own a car, $10 an hour. That's why we want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, that if you want to change your life, your status, your family, and your community in 30, 60, and 90 days, you need to call Action Leadership Institute and the PCAP Media Group so they can teach you how to put together a 30, 60, 90-day success plan. It works, folks. If you have a plan in life, all you have to do is follow it. And if it's something positive that's going to move you towards education and training, economic development, and then politics, you'll then, of course, be in a position where you can be competitive and you can determine your destiny from birth to death for at least 300 years. But if you don't do any of this, a success plan is useless. Of course, we teach you through our organization how to start businesses, how to fill out that 501c3 application and get that grant money. There's not a lot of grant money left, folks. Just about $600 billion, $600 billion all over America and Canada. Money is flowing like rain. And in just 2 years, it'll probably be $800 or $900 billion that's available, because there are going to be some significant changes in 2 years in the great United States, in Europe, and the world. So if you want to know how to do that, folks, you need to call us again at 601-201-1957 and tell folks that I want to get that 36 to 90-day success plan. I want to learn how to write grants so I can get some of that $600 billion that's available And of course, you want to call the folks at Action Leadership Institute and PCAP Media so you can get involved with their speaker tour. We're looking for folks to call us at 601 201 1957. We will come to your school, your community organization, your church, family reunion, or your retreats. Folks, you need to call us now. Get some new people talking new things that's going to help you decide that you will become independent versus become a political slave to the current administration and others that's coming in the future. Always remember, if you want to change your life, your status in 30, 60, 90 days, you need to call PCAP Media and Action Leadership Institute. That is after you read the book that's called Organize, Don't Criticize. Folks, we are going to tell you how to be a survivor. Now, today I will tell you and show you, you are looking at us on YouTube, Facebook. We're on WMPR 90.1 FM in Jackson, Mississippi. That's a great station, folks, been around for a long time. And today we always talk about economic development. We talk about the education training opportunities that are available. But today we will be doing something a little different. It's going to be economic, of course, but we have a title that says, You Need a Will and a Family Life Estate Trust. You've heard it before. You've heard it before many times. And we're going to make this thing simple, make it simple for you. You know, you don't want to have it too difficult, so folks will say, I don't quite understand. We have our program designed for individuals with the third grade level up to a PhD. So anything we talk about, if you're third grade or higher, you can understand it because we make it clear. And today you will get part one of a two-part series. And this show today is different because we will tell you how to get that will and that family life estate together. Folks, we want to have some good news for you because most of you don't have it. We want to tell you again, we've been telling you for 40 years, you need to get that will, you need to get that family estate trust together, and you all are still procrastinating. I'm talking about most of the listeners because I want you to remember one thing, and that is, remember this focus statement that I'm going to give you right now. I call it today's focus statement. It says, get a will. Stop falling out with your family and friends. Stop holding grudges. Fix the issue because when they are dead, it is too late. Folks, it is too late when they are gone. It is too late to go and say, I'm going to get a will. It won't help the person that's dead. It won't protect you because others are going to start shopping, looking, and waiting to see what's available financially, and they're going to start going to court on you. You've got to get it together, and that's why I want you to look and think about what we are talking about today, and this is the format that we have. Making it simple, we're going to give you what we call the will assessment checklist. Certain things you must have if you want to get that will or that family trust together. Now, the part that's going to make some of you understand that it is important to get a will or family estate trust, I'm going to tell you something I haven't told you before. What happens when one is too lazy to prepare a will or life estate before death? A lot of you all are just sitting around waiting 30, 40 years, 50 years. Talked to a man yesterday, 58 years old. I've been talking to him about a will for at least 10 years. He says he's almost there. Says almost there. I'm going to bring you some papers over so you all can get it together. He said it was going to be back on yesterday. Didn't see it, but I know he's preparing. 15 years. He might not be around the next 15, so he needs to get on over here so we can get it together. because we do your wills. We can put it together for you. We have notaries over here. They do this, notarize any document free. We could get witnesses for you, and you can get this one-stop deal when you come over here. If you're not too lazy, you get the information together. Now, we want to also do something that is very, very clear. We're going to tell you why you should make that will, even though you've been too lazy to do anything about it all these years. Now, when you know you need to change, and you hear information giving you the great knowledge that you need in order to be competitive and have your assets together, you need to then say, I must learn the formats for a will or a family trust. You're in the right place. You listen to the Eld Henderson Real News Show. Organize, don't criticize. We're going to tell you how to do it, folks. And the last part of this presentation today, which will probably be next week, we told you it's a two-part series. We're going to talk about the long-term health care directives. The long-term health care directives, definitely talking about what's going to happen to me when I'm sick to the point where I can't understand what's going on. How can I prepare to get myself buried? Now, a lot of you don't like to hear that word because you think you're not going to die. I guarantee you, every one of you all that's listening going to die. You need to stop procrastinating and get this thing together and do something that most people are not doing in America. I'm talking about my listeners now. You're not preparing for death. You just pop up and die, which is a natural occurrence. No funeral plans, no money left to bury yourself. You don't even know whether you are able to have a visitation, what we call the Love Fest, where they are going to be feeding wonderful food. You don't even think about that. You say, well, I'm not worried about it. I'm going to do it next week, a month after next. But when you die, your relatives stuck with that. And that's why the last thing in this series, we're going to be telling you how to prepare your personal financial notebook so you will have all the resources you need to be effective. Folks, stop procrastinating. Start thinking about getting that will together and that family trust. And here is the checklist. Make it simple for you again. For individuals and families, you all need to record this information, write it down, and then call us next week. Or if you want to do it during the holiday series, which is this week, you need to call us, 601-201. And this is what you're going to need to do. Starting today, you need to write a short introduction on a piece of paper to yourself that says, my last will and testament. That's all you have to put. That's the first paragraph. See how simple it is, folks? I told you it's for third graders up to a PhD. First thing you write on a piece of paper, my last will and testament. That's just an introduction. The second thing you put on that piece of paper, ladies and gentlemen, is you're going to name an executor, and that is the person who's going to carry out the directions on your will. They're going to carry out everything you said. An executor. Some people call it the will administrator. Others call it simply the person is going to take care of your affairs when you die. I don't care what you call it, but legally the word is an executor or an administrator for your will. Determine what you want. Now, of course, something else is difficult for you in this number 3, and that is you must put on a piece of paper your heirs, the identity of your heirs. We are talking about your spouse, your life partner, your children, your beneficiaries, and how you want to make provision for these individuals. And folks, when we're talking about your heirs, we are talking about all of them. And I don't like to say it, but I'll say it again. A lot of you all that's listening all over the world have what we call two or three families. Some of them have these outside secret children. The wife didn't tell the husband she has one that's been raised or being raised by her mother. That's not her sister's child. Oh, John Doe married two or three times. He has not told his last wife that he has four other children by two different wives. Now, we know we don't want to talk about this kind of thing, but my job is to talk about it so you can understand that you must get serious when you start talking about the identity of your heirs. You have to put all of them down. Those side children, put them down. Your stepchildren, anyone you have raised, and anyone you want to give something to, or anything you want to give something to. A community organization, or leave something to one of your animal friends. Anything you want to do, you can consider getting that done on a piece of paper. All the information that I'm giving you right now can be put on one sheet of paper, and I'll tell you what to do with it later on. The next thing you're going to do, which is number 4, you are going to identify a guardian for your minor children, for dependent individuals in your family. A lot of you have kids from 1 to 18. I would say 1 to 17 and 11 months old. Then others have dependent family members, brothers and sisters, mother and dad, and many other relatives that are living with you that are not independent. They are dependent, and they need a guardian, folks, in your will. Just put that name down. My guardian for my minor children is. My guardian for my dependent family member is. Very simple. And then the hard part, which shouldn't be, but it is to a lot of folks, number 5 is you have to put down on that same piece of paper who you're going to give your property to. How are you going to divide your property? Folks, this is a very serious matter to some. But when some focus on the statement that I gave earlier, where you need to get this thing together, you should have a problem deciding who you're going to give your property to. And when I say your property or your assets, I'm talking about all of them. Your real estate, your bank accounts, your retirement accounts, your stocks and bonds, and other things that we call tangible assets. And then you assign those pieces of property or your assets to an individual. And if you have 10 or 15 individuals you want to give something to, and some of them get the same property, you just put on there, this person will have 15%, 20% of my $1 million account. I'm going to give 30% to John Doe, who is one of my heirs. That's going to come from my stocks and bonds and on and on. You see where I'm going, folks. I told you I'm going to make it simple. And then the last thing you want to do is say, I've done 5 steps, and now I'm going to sign this document. All you do is put your signature on it and put a date on it. And folks, that's your will. But the next important step, you need to take it to a preparer, someone at Action Leadership Institute or PCAP Media or elsewhere, and let them make it official by typing it up for you. One that knows the local laws, knows that it's important to look at the perspective of tax divisions. Let them know that you can't give the money to a person of an age where he's not responsible. You're not going to say, I'm going to give my son, who is 18 or 19, that is not serious yet, $100,000 after my will has been revised to the point where somebody's going to change it. We'll give all the money away immediately. Or give the house to someone that's 17 years of age. You give it to his executor, the executor of your will. Let him manage that, or set someone aside to manage that house until he or she is trained to the point where they can manage it. All of this will be stated, folks, very clearly. And the thing that a lot of people have been asking for years is, why should I go and waste my time doing this when I can just not do any of that? Because I don't want to get myself messed up. It's so confusing. Say, I don't know whether I need to make that will or not. I'm going to tell you, you really do, folks, because if you have $500 or more and you're 18 or older, you need to have a will, folks. You need that will. And if you have what we call ample assets or big money, make it simple for you, or a lot of property in different states, stocks and bonds all over the world, because you might have some international assets. And a lot of you do. You know you have a lot of funds in banks and stocks and bonds. So you want to be able to identify these items, and you want to make sure that every group that I'm going to mention today will be part of your heirs if they are. Now, this is what you must consider. You understand why should I make a will? And I'm going to tell you. You make a will if you are an unmarried couple. A lot of you nice people that I know and others know and don't know all over the world, or what we call wonderful people, but they are unmarried couples. We have another group of very important individuals that are not stable as they want to be. They are called the homeless individuals and families. And then we have another group of important people that are doing the best they can, and they are homeowners who have no money, no savings. They own the home, but if they had to stop work for 3 months, they will lose it. They most certainly need a will. The homeowners who have no money and no savings. And then you have another group that's going to be considered, folks, and a lot of you know you're in this position, and that is having problems organizing a funeral. You don't have your funeral organized yet, so you need a will. And then you have others that are very, very clearly in a position where they can't sort out their affairs. The life is messed up. They don't know what to do. Changing jobs all the time, changing partners all the time, fussing and fighting, going to jail, running from church to church, gambling, playing the lottery, doing all kinds of things. Their affairs all messed up. And they tell themselves, when I get myself together, I'm going to get me a will because I want to be safe. I want my heirs to have something. Folks, if you believe in that procrastination, it won't happen. It just won't happen. Now, here is something else you need to consider, and most of my listeners will fall in this category one way or the other. And these are parents with children under the age of 18 or older. It's not anything wrong with having children to live with you until they're 50 or 60 years of age. Nothing wrong with that if you choose to do that. But you still need to consider in your will who's going to take care of them. Now, don't say I'm being critical, folks, with people that are having these old kids live with them until they're 60 years of age. I'm talking about your children. Nothing wrong with that. You love your children. You keep them as long as they can tell you, Mama, let me come in here. Daddy, let me come back. Say, I don't have to work. I'm going to take care of you. If you fall for that, nothing wrong with that. That's legal in America and in most places. So you have to put in your will, folks, who will take care of them. Of course, they are there to take care of you. You know they're not taking care of you. They don't work. And if they do, they change jobs every 3 months. They leave you for a few months and come back. And many times you're going to have to put those folks in the will if you want to look out for your family members. And you're going to have to get some of these folks, some of these same people I'm talking about, a legal guardian yourselves. Got to write it down, who their legal guardian is going to be. Just because you're older doesn't mean you don't need a legal guardian if you can't decide what you're going to do with yourself. And another group that I must talk about, ladies and gentlemen, and this is a serious group. Some great people. They are doing everything they know to do that's right, but many of them don't have that will. And this group is very, very significant worldwide. And that's these retired couples, folks. The retired couples that's been married or just been living together for years are very important people. I'm telling you right now, if you do the research, you'll find that a lot of these retired couples have all kinds of assets. They have homes, cars, all kind of money, stocks and bonds, all kinds of assets. No will, no family life estate trust to take care of this. So, folks, I want to tell you now, I'm going to be sort of untactful as I say this. If you are a retired couple at any age, 50 to 90, you need to start getting your will together tomorrow morning. Start doing what I told you. Write some things down on a piece of paper, because your assets, your home, your cars, and other things, going to be in jeopardy. And that's why we have this as a two-part series. We're going to tell you later on. We might not be able to get to it this evening, but I know we'll get to it next week. What's going to happen to all your resources if you don't get a will? And some of you don't want to hear that because it is very, very serious and it's embarrassing. Now, one thing that I must tell you about these retired couples, you couples, great people, retired, been together 40, 50, 60 years. I saw someone on TV the other day who was celebrating their 80th marriage anniversary. They've been together 80 years. And I'm quite sure they probably have everything together. But a lot of you all don't. That's been together 30, 40, 50, and 60 years. I know a lot of them. So, folks, if you're a retired couple, you want to get yourself together so you can put something on paper that's going to allude to when you get married. Because a lot of these retired couples are not married either. Then you got to put something on a piece of paper saying, where am I going to live in a few years when my partner dies or get to the point where they're going to need some care? Am I going to put myself or put them in a senior care home? Or we're going to be homeless if one dies before the other? I'm talking about retired couples that working together, that are lovable, that have raised great children, have raised and still supporting the grandchildren and great-grandchildren. But they don't have their lives together. They don't have their finances together. And folks, now don't feel bad if you fall in any one of these categories. Nothing wrong with that. That's why I'm talking about it. I want you to not feel bad, but I want you to feel guilty to the point where you say, that old man is talking about me, and I'm tired of hearing it. I'm going to stop procrastinating and do something about this, because he's going to tell us exactly what to do. Exactly. Most folks are not going to do that. They're just going to tell you to do something, but they're not going to tell you how to do it and when to do it and how much of it you need to do. We don't do that at the Action Leadership Institute and PCAP Media. We give you the specific information. And when you do that, you'll be ready to be competitive. Folks, we don't have too many minutes left doing this before this first break, about 45 seconds or so. And I just want to tell you the next area we're going to talk about who should have a will or life estate is the single individuals. There are a lot of single individuals that are living alone. And folks, this is a serious group. I know a lot of those folks. Folks got 30 seconds left, going on down to 5 seconds. And now, folks, we're going for a 1 minute break. Stand by, but don't change the channel.
Plan today, protect tomorrow. Life is full of uncertainties, but your family's future doesn't have to be. Having life insurance, a will, and a trust in place is one of the most powerful acts of love and responsibility you can give to your loved ones. Life insurance provides financial security for your family when they need it most. Will ensures your wishes are honored and your assets go where you intend. Trust offers added protection and peace of mind by safeguarding your legacy. Don't wait until it's too late. Start preparing today so your family is protected tomorrow. Need guidance? Contact Dr. Eldridge Henderson at 60120-11957 to learn more about how to get started. Dr. Henderson is available for speaking engagements. Like and follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Now back to our show.
Okay, folks, thank you. Thank you for staying with us. I told you not to turn the channel. I told you just reach over and get something, water or a little snack or something, and stay with us because we are back, folks. And I'm getting ready now to continue to tell you something you haven't heard before. And if you have not heard about it in detail. We told you. The folks at Action Leadership Institute and PCAP Media will give you everything you need to know that can help you change your life and put you in a position where you become a new man, a new person in 30, 60, or 90 days. Who else can do that, folks? I don't know anyone else can do it. They might be out there. I just don't know them. And that's why we are now telling you that we're going to include another group of people that don't have that will or that family life estate together. And that's these single individuals. I know thousands of them, and you too. Single individuals who have children. Some of these single individuals never been married. Many have been, and they separated for a variety of reasons. They have children. I know some that have children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren all living in the same place. They are called non-traditional families. But in America, right now, since the 1960s, they really are traditional families. Traditional means it's just something that is expected. Now, here are another group of single individuals that are a little different. They are people that have focused themselves economically, and they have all kinds of big businesses. They have large estates. They have property in California, Mississippi, Georgia, Louisiana, Montana. You've heard of Montana? Some people call it Montana. Some call it Montana. I call it anything I want because the name is sounding different every time I say it. So we're not going to worry about it. But I want you to know if you are a single person and you have a business or large estate, you need to start thinking about getting that will or that family life estate together before it's too late, folks. Now, here are a lot of you that are single. You've had so much confusion and different orientations in your life. You've had so many people to undercut you and cause you grief and sorrow until you don't know what to do. So you're finding right now, as a single person, with or without children, that you're having some major life changes. We call them major life changes mentally, financially, family-wise. Some of you are just been single so long, you're saying, I think I'm going to get me a legal partner. Boy, you're thinking about getting married. And here you are thinking about getting married. Who are you going to marry? A divorcee? Are you going to do like a lot of my listeners and listeners all over the world? Are you going to go and take somebody else's partner or mate or whatever? Are you going to get online and order someone from a foreign country to come and marry you? Of course, some of you are going to do it. Some of you are going to find them right here in the great United States. Nothing wrong with that. Because you have these major life changes that's coming on, and you want to do something. You want to feel that you can become a whole person. You don't like being single anymore. You want to become a whole person because you're older now and you're thinking about that brainwashing that you have received years ago that if you don't get your life together, you can't go to heaven when you die. A lot of my listeners believe that sincerely. I got to go to heaven when I die. And they don't even know nothing about heaven other than that propaganda they've been told. They're not prepared for it because they've never done anything that's significant that'll get them there. But they told themselves and heard others say, get ready for heaven. I like to talk about that, folks, because when you become a person where you've been told certain things, whether it's true or not, you have a tendency to believe it. So, folks, as a single individual, and you have the funds to contribute to society, you need to get that will together. Because some of you don't have a lot of individual family members. With all this money you have, these businesses and large estates, you might want to contribute something to nonprofit organizations. You might have 5 or 6 family members, cousins and nephews and others that you want to give $75,000 to individually to get a 4-year college degree or to get in a certification program at a community college. And say, if you get this $50,000 or this $75,000, go into this program. You won't have to work, and I'll give you another 75 to 100,000 once you get this certification of this degree. After you work in one place for 2 years, you have another $75,000 to $100,000. And since I have so many assets, businesses and large estates all over the country and everywhere, when you turn 30 years of age, if you have continued to work, started a family, and married someone that's equally yoked to your skills and lifestyle, I'm going to give you $1 million. But you have to invest 500,000 of this $1 million, half of it, in stocks and bonds, indicating that you're going to give some to nonprofit organizations and so forth. So we want to get back to the topic, folks, and give you some specific information on wills and trusts. So I want to tell you that life is sweet. Life is good if you do the things you need to do. But now I do have some bad news, folks. I have some bad news that some of you don't want to hear. I'm just going to tell it to you because I like to give that bad news, because all the bad news you hear those folks talking about at Action Leadership Institute and PCAT Media is nothing but good news. Good news. Good. Good news. Now, the good news that I'm going to give you now, folks, is going to wake some of you up, because I'm going to talk about the other important ingredient that's going to be needed if you are too lazy to prepare a will or a life estate trust before you die. See how simple I make it? What's going to happen to you, folks, if you're one of those people that are too lazy? I'm making it simple. 3rd grade to PhD. What happens to one who is too lazy to prepare a will or life estate trust before death? I'm going to tell you, make it clear. First thing going to happen to you is that the individual state law will already be written to control your asset distribution. The state is going to tell you what to do with the money. You don't have it together. When you die, the state laws have already been passed. They have already been passed and they're going to be distributed according to the state statutes. And they are not going to prioritize your blood relatives or what you think might be appropriate. Listen to me. Dying without a will is dying and you're not saved, according to some of the preachers. And I'm not going to get into it, but all this is related. What happens to you when you die and you're not saved? It is like dying without a will. Someone else will determine your destiny. Now, suppose the state is going to control the asset distribution. What's going to happen? I'm going to tell you, make it clear. You're going to have to, your property and other assets will go through what we call probate court supervision. Everything you own, the estate, must go through a formal public process supervised by a court. And folks, you do not want that to happen to your assets, whether you have a few or many. And later on, I'll tell you what's going to happen to them. I've told you before, and some of you didn't listen, but I'm telling you again, worldwide, through Facebook and YouTube and all over the radio station and public speaking as we move around to the various places. We're just going to whip it on you, folks. We like to do it because we want you to change. What's going to happen with this court supervision? They're going to get a judge involved. And this judge is going to get your account, and he's going to do something that you don't want. He's going to appoint an administrator, which is going to be your personal representative, not of you, of your estate. And this person is going to manage your estate. He's going to pay your debts that you accrued, and he's going to distribute the assets according to the state law in the respective states. The state of Mississippi's law is different than Alabama. New York is different from California and other places. 50 states, 50 different distribution schemes that the probate court can supervise and appoint someone to do it. Now, suppose there's someone that is a person that's not considering you nor your family, and most of them don't, because the judges appoint someone they usually know. It's going to be their friends. And they're going to have similar economic characteristics. They're going to have similar education and training. It's not going to be you. We call it your type of folks. Of course not. It's going to be someone that thinks like the judges and the lawyers they appoint. Someone that went to school with them. Someone that's part of the country club set. Someone that they are teaching Sunday school with. Someone that they travel around and play golf. Just good friends, taking care of you and your family's assets. So now when they get through paying that debt, and they distribute all the assets according to state law, the bad news is that none of the folks that you had in mind before you died will get anything. Because you didn't know the law. You didn't know how to set up the distribution scheme. So your stepchildren, your unannounced children, your distant relatives that you just discovered that were excellent people, all of those folks won't get anything. So, folks, I'm going to tell you the other bad news about this, if you don't make a will, and some of you say, well, I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to tell you, you don't make it, folks. It's just like being broke. When you die and you didn't leave your assets properly, didn't distribute it properly, because you didn't have that document called a will, it takes years, and sometimes up to 10 years, 12 years, 15. It's going to cause a lot of delay, folks. And it's going to freeze your assets for your surviving members. Here you are, been bragging for years, telling your relatives and friends, and they know it. You're not bragging. I'm a millionaire. I'm a stock market king. I won the lottery for $4 million twice. They're going to tell you all kind of things, and most of it's going to be true. And I tell you, you are my favorite relative. I'm going to put you in my will, and I'm going to take care of you. They're not going to do it, folks. They're still out there accumulating those assets. They're going to do it tomorrow. They're going to do it next week. But they won't get around to it. What else is going to happen if you are too lazy or you one of those old procrastinators that won't prepare that will? You're going to wait until next week. I'm going to start doing better January the 1st, 2026. No, you're not. If you're smart, you start it tomorrow. You don't wait until 26. And I'm not naive enough to say you're going to start this evening. I know you're not going to do that. But at least you ought to say, this man just criticizing me and talking about me. And, well, I must admit, he's not criticizing me. He's just talking about things that I understand that I'm guilty of, and I'm going to do better. So I can tell you, folks, when you do this, you got some problems. So if you're too lazy to prepare this will or your life estate trust before you die, guess what else is going to happen? And this is serious, ladies and gentlemen. This is serious. I want you to think about this. You're going to have a lot of family conflict. And it's going to be so bad. The liquor stores, the firearms stores, and others going to be filled with your relatives getting ready to get some so they can start fighting each other to take what you left them, which means you told them you're going to leave them something. But if you die without that will, you didn't leave them anything, and they don't have any of your assets unless they can figure out a way to do it. And in most cases, they can't because they don't know the judge well enough to go in and petition him or her to get your assets. It doesn't work that way. The law is already set. So, folks, I'm going to tell you, when you have this family conflict, you're going to have so many disputes until they're going to start talking to other members about you, your same brother or sister that's been good friends for years, that's been going to their reunions, that's been helping them out financially and otherwise for years. Now they're not talking. They're fighting physically and verbally. You know, you got some relatives like that, listeners and viewers, you know that. And you were saying we have strange relationships in our family. So we have a strong strain there. So we just can't even look at each other when we see each other. We just pass each other and touch elbows by accident and won't even speak. Look in a different direction. And say, folks, this is bringing some difficult times to my family, difficult times, and we have a lot of grief because here we are, 7 boys and girls that all were lovable children, lovable young adults. Now mom is gone and dad is gone, and they didn't get that will together, and here we are fighting among ourselves. The judge won't talk to us. He said, you all can't get yourselves together, so don't come up in here anymore. I'm going to take care of this. Take this piece of paper and go and read it. They're going to give you the state statutes that's already been done by the legislature, telling you how those assets are going to be distributed. And then you're going to act a fool and go and hire a lawyer. He's going to look at it, knowing he can't win that case. And he's going to say, well, of course, I work with you. Say, you have a right to legal advice. What's it going to cost my boss? Nothing but $10,000. If he one of them big-time lawyers that got more than 5 members on the law firm, and they have a big office in a big building, they might charge you $25,000 if you tell them you're a relative that died without a will, had an asset list of about $8 or $10 million. He might charge you $75,000 just to take the case, and he should. They can't work for nothing. All the laws already written, things are messed up. You don't have your family together. It's going to be bad, bad, folks. Now the next thing that's going to happen to you, and I want to Just rub it in real good. See, I'm a very sensitive person, very sensitive. And that's why I'm going to rub it into you real good so you can understand it clearly and get a little afraid to die without this will or this family trust. Guess what else they're going to do for you? This old judge doesn't know you, cares nothing about you because he's just doing his job. He is going to appoint guardians or a guardian for your minor children. He's going to do it. Not your son or daughter. I tell you, they've been running to the judge, fighting and raising hell, disturbing the peace in this office, talking about, man, you don't have no family relation skills. He just said, I can't deal with those folks. So he's going to appoint someone for your minor children, for those dependent adults in your house that you've been taking care of for years. Your mother and father have dementia. They have all kinds of physical problems. They are nice people, excellent people, but they can't walk and talk like they used to. I know a lot of them like that. And this judge is going to appoint guardians for all of these people. And without a will, you'll find that this judge is going to determine your destiny and the child's destiny according to what he thinks is their best interest. And usually, I hate to say it, but usually the upper class, middle class lawyers and judges don't think like a middle class or poor person economically. Most of them don't have any respect for poor folks. They don't think you should be poor. They say, why is one poor these days? So I've been around, I went to school, I studied hard, I got good breaks. Why? They didn't do it. They live in the same place I'm living. We know the reason why there's a difference. We're not going to go into that. We're talking about wills and family life trust estates and so forth. So here's something else that's going to happen to you if you don't have this will. When the courts get through appointing people to look at your fears, and you have a lot of fear now, you're just thinking this thing ought to be settled next week. A lot of fear. So you're going to go and borrow some money on that house that you have paid for already. So it's going to be cleared in about 30 days. I know it's going to be resolved in about 60 days. You're going to borrow on your house. You're going to borrow on that nice car that you almost have paid for. Or you're going to go and sell one of your rental houses just to be able to have a little extra resource. We call it money to just waste because you know you're going to get that big settlement in 30 days or 6 months, which you're not. It might take 10 years. And when you do this, folks, you'll find that you're going to have some unintended heirs that's going to show up. And I've been telling you this for the last 45 minutes. There are a lot of folks on the side that you have not recognized. When you die, they're going to hear about it. I don't know how these people that's living in other states that you haven't heard about in 40 years, when you die and have that funeral, they're going to show up. How do they know about that? It's amazing. It's amazing. They show up. All of those different relatives, all those outside children. And when you talk to them, years ago when they were young, and you lied to them and told them what you were going to do for them, they believed it. And that's why they showing up. And you're going to have all these unintended heirs that you call them potential good relatives fighting again. I told you that. They're going to be part of that family conflict. So you will find, folks, that if you want to do what's best for your unintended heirs, those stepchildren, all of those others that you've been working with for years that you haven't seen in 15 or 30 years, before your death, they're going to be fighting those that you knew well before you died. Your so-called second marriage children. You haven't gotten the first marriage or the second marriage children yourself. I'm talking about those now that's on that third marriage. You don't think that other group. You don't even think they're important. You say, oh, they're older now. They're in their 40s and 50s. And here I am. I'm only 75. I got 3 kids now by my new wife. And they under 10 years of age. I got to look out for them. And folks, that's going to cause some problems. I'm telling you, that new wife's going to catch a lot of hell by that new husband. It's going to be tough, folks. And let me tell you what else is going to happen to you if you're too lazy to prepare a will or a life estate trust before you die. The bad news, and this worse than all the other things that I mentioned, is it's going to be what I call an increased cost. It's going to cost more, ladies and gentlemen. All the lawyers and judges and all those other folks not working free, they got to be paid. So here you are. You lived all them years, accumulated all those assets, accumulated about 5, 10, or $15 million, got homes and estates and stocks and bonds everywhere. And since the judge and his friends know you are not organized, you already just told them that they don't know what they are doing, so they don't want to talk to you. And they're going to let that thing just hang in there for 5 years. And then one day they're going to call all y'all together and say, you know one thing? And that's when the judge spent all your money. He ain't going to tell you that. And paying all them folks to take care of your affairs. He can say, we're going to sell this thing. And we'll give you all a chance to get together and decide what we need to do. And right then, you all are not going to agree. And the judge knows it because he knows the family is unstable. He's going to say, we're going to sell this thing. Boy, you all then go and borrow some more money. Oh, I'm going to have my part of this $10 billion. I know I'm going to get 800,000. I know I'm going to get that. So you borrow some more money. That's the second time. And when all of those people that's been managing this estate that your relative didn't put in a will or what we call the family life trust, they had, let's say, a good number, $15 million. When they got things settled, and I know a case like this, started off with about 10,000 acres, got down to 135 acres, had oil on it and all kinds of things. And now, that case and this case that I'm talking about now, this imaginary case, is worth, after all of this thing that's been going on, all of these things, now is down to $150,000, and 30 different relatives going to have to claim that $130,000 or whatever it is, and they're not going to have enough sense to get together and divide it equally. So I'm going to say, well, I'm the favorite child. I'm the oldest one. I'm the youngest one. I'm the one that took care of Daddy before he died. My mama was my favorite person, and she told me that. So I should get at least 25%. And then when that happens, that's when they're going to start using those wonderful weapons they bought in that gun store that I told you about. You're going to be in the newspaper. You're going to have family war. They're going to start shooting and fight. You see it all the time, folks. So I'm going to tell you now, if you don't want to listen to real news, you better start thinking about just doing yourself a favor and listen anyway, because on the Eld Henderson Real News Show, Organize, Don't Criticize, we are going to tell you how to organize yourselves, your family, and your community organization, and what you need to do to get ready for next week. I want you to know that in a few seconds, 30 seconds or so, we're going to be done. But we want you to tune in next week from 6 to 7 on WMPR 90.1 FM and listen to the great L. Henderson Real News Show. Organize.